laws completed by mid-next year. Lynn Evelyn, SBS World News.
The nation's energy ministers have struck a deal to speed up the switch to renewables in a move designed to insulate the nation's electricity grid against international disruptions. Chief Political Correspondent Anna Henderson joins us now from Canberra. Good evening, Anna. Just how significant is today's agreement?
Well, Janice, it was touted by the Federal Energy Minister and some state ministers as a real step forward in this process. What it's done is look at the fact that there are gas-fired power plants that are currently retiring along with coal-fired power plants, and what is going to come in to the system to create backup for renewable energy. And the decision today amongst the ministers around the table was to go down the path of having renewable backup in terms of battery storage and pumped hydro as opposed to coal and gas. So that is a very big switch from where the former coalition government was going with this. There is some scepticism among analysts about whether it can be achieved, but the Energy Minister, Chris Bowen, today said it would keep the lights on, and he said it would generate possibly up to $10 billion of extra investment.
This is a sensible, carefully designed mechanism which will unleash investment in clean, dispatchable energy right across Australia, firming our grids, providing that extra capacity as more and more old power stations leave the grids, as more and more coal-fired power stations inevitably close. We will be firming our grid going forward.
So Anna, ahead of tomorrow's National Cabinet meeting, where do the coal states sit on this question of compensation for price caps?
Well, Janice, we had heard, particularly from New South Wales and Queensland, this question of whether or not they deserve to be compensated for lost royalties if there was a price cap put on coal. But today, while we haven't yet heard from Queensland what their final position will be, we did hear from the New South Wales Energy Minister, Matt Keane, and the focus has very much shifted away from what the taxpayer should be getting to what the household, consumer or business should deserve in this environment. This is what he had to say.
We want to support families and businesses, not only in New South Wales, but right across the national energy market, and we will do our bit. So we are not here today asking for compensation for loss in coal royalties. We're here seeking support for families and businesses who could be impacted by a cap on coal prices.
So this is, of course, all leading up to tomorrow's National Cabinet meeting, which will be held virtually.